Okay.
Okay, this is the one we didn't. Oh, did I print the lock it out?
They can stay out there.
Just prop it open. This is the one we didn't
It's
do
over
last
you.
time. Ready, guys? Didn't do any yet.
This is like unique. Oh, I'm not, she must just close her leg.
Oh, yeah. Alright, I just printed that. The uterus. This particular slide is in the menstruating. It's taken during the menstruating phase, and so you're not seeing the lining, the simple columnar lining, because that has already been shed, the endometrium. Let's see, your slide list is endometrium, uterine glands, myometrium, and smooth muscle. Okay. So endometrium is not present because it's been shed, like I said. It would be at the top. And then underneath that is the underlying connective tissue, which you're seeing up there at the top. This, because this is another mucous membrane. I have spare batteries, or I used to. And so these are the endometrial or uterine glands, same thing.
Wait, I thought the endometrium was like the whole top layer.
Yes, it is. The endometrium is this from here all the way to there. This, the epithelium's not present
Oh, the
because this is in
epithelium.
the shedding phase. So you're not seeing the epithelium. That's what looks
Oh, I
so
thought you
weird
said
about
we're not
this.
seeing
See how
the
it just looks like it's
Yeah.
disintegrating? Yeah, so epithelium would be here. Endometrium refers to the entire inner layer,
Okay.
which includes what's missing. I'll show you the next slide.
I just heard you wrong. I thought you said the endometrium wasn't showing through.
Okay, no. Yeah, this is endometrium with the epithelium missing.
Sorry.
And so then the glands, endometrial, also called the uterine glands, those are mucus producing. Those are here. All those spaces. There's going to be ducts that go to the surface, but you're not seeing, of course, the entire gland. Just like always, we hardly ever get a view of the full gland going all the way to the surface. Okay, so then if you move a little lower, you can see where the tissue changes. You see that difference there?
Yep.
A little closer. Good. All right, see the difference there? Where's the endometrium? Upper or lower half of the screen? The upper half of the screen is endometrium, or part of it at least. This is where the myometrium starts. The myo meaning muscle. That's the muscle layer. What kind of muscle is that?
Smooth.
Yep, that's smooth muscle, just like all these other organs that we have that contract or push things. That's smooth muscle and those visceral organs. Yeah, this is smooth muscle. It's pretty thick, strong muscle. It's the one that contracts, pushes that fetus out. Still smooth muscle. There's an outer membrane as well, but that's not on your list, so we'll just leave that for lecture, and it's not there anyway. Okay, so what's this main layer of the uterus called? Myometrium. Good, and what kind of tissue? Yeah, it's comprised of smooth muscle. Alright, so let's look at the other one, because some of you may have seen the other uterine slide.
What was the number of that one, Sarah?
That was G21R. That was, yeah, the first one on the list, although I see it doesn't list R. So this slide happens to be oriented upside down relative to the other one. Okay, so don't let that confuse you. Now the lumen of the uterus is now down at the bottom. So I guess I could just flip it around, but it's already up there. So this is the epithelium right here. It looks like it's got cilia, but it actually doesn't. It's simple columnar. It's probably just a bunch of gunk out there. So endometrium is from here, and it goes up, includes all that. And can you see where it changes? Yeah, right there. Okay, and then this is the start of the next main layer. What's this main layer?
Myometrium.
Myometrium, good. And what are these structures?
Uterine gland.
Uterine glands, good. Yeah. So in this phase, you can see there's a thicker endometrium. The glands are more complete, and the epithelium is still there. So this is not the menstruating phase. Not on your lab, but just a little extra info. Okay, any questions about the uterus? Okay, that's pretty straightforward, I think. See if you recognize that opening.
Oh, that's
Tell your neighbor, you know what that opening or passageway is.
spongy urethra. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the spongy
Urethra.
urethra. Okay, and how about this tissue mass?
Corpus spongy.
Yeah, that's the corpus spongiosum. So then there's two other things. The paired columns are the corpora cavernosa. Two, and we looked at those up here, and like I said, they were kind of a mess. So I was going to use a picture for that. But this is that sheath collagen fibers that surrounding each of those cylinders. What was that called?
The collagenous sheath.
Yeah, that's the collagenous sheath. Just put in my flash drive. We can get the other picture up here.
Okay. So everything?
Yeah. So the collagenous sheath, again, it goes around the whole, the peripheral.
Yeah, it goes around the peripheral, and then it goes
In
also
between.
around in between
Yeah.
each of the structures, each of the cylinders. Well, there's that. Find it later. All right, so there's that one at least. Make sure what we just saw. There's the corpus spongiosum surrounding. Here's the, what's this again? The spongiurethra, yeah, and you can see part of the collagen sheath right up here. The difference in the tissue, all the fibers versus the smooth muscle elastic mix.
So the opening is called the spongy urethra?
Yes, the opening, yeah. Yeah, the urethra is the passageway. Okay, let's move on then. All right, tell your neighbor or yourself what organ this is.
The renal corpuscle. That's the, yeah.
Yep, it's the kidney. All right, so question could be, what is this general region of this organ called? Up to about there, to about there. So what is this general region of the kidney called? We can go a little closer to.
The
Renal
renal corpuscle.
Renal cortex.
Yeah, the renal cortex. How do you know that though?
Because it has the renal.
Yeah, it has the renal corpuscles, and you may not have seen them from that far away, but here you should be able to see them. That was the renal cortex. This is the region. This is, what is this structure? It's two structures combined. Renal corpuscle. Renal corpuscle. There's another one, another one, another one, and another one. Okay, and what about all right, there's a very thin layer right here. What's that called?
Parietal.
Yeah, it's the parietal epithelium. Yeah, you could say of the Bowman's capsule, but parietal epithelium is fine. That's parietal epithelium. Yeah, the visceral epithelium, which isn't on your lab list, but it's part of your list today for models, is on top of the glomerulus. So the visceral epithelium would be here. So it's just like the same deal that you've learned over and over with parietal and visceral. Parietal one being lining the wall, and the visceral one being right on the structure or the organ. And so we've got some other tubular structures here. What might this be? Yeah, a convoluted tubule. Yeah, you could put distal or proximal convoluted tubule, or I'll just say convoluted tubule. Could be either. You don't have to identify. One is a little bit has a bigger lumen than the other, as you can see here. So you could distinguish if you wanted in the future. All right, let's go back. Too much light. There's a blood vessel right there. Okay, so we did, this was the region is the renal cortex, right? Renal cortex, not just cortex, right? Because cortex is like really general. All right, and so here it changes. A little bit of fat there that came along when they section the kidney. So go right into the middle. All right, so what is this general region of this organ that we're seeing here? Renal medulla. Yeah. Okay, some tubular structures here. And I could ask, what made this tubular structure or this tubular structure be? What made this structure be? That one.
Nephron duct? Loops or ducts?
Collecting duct or nephron loop? Yeah, or loop of Henle, same thing. Nephron loop and loop of Henle is the same thing. So collecting duct or nephron loop or loop of Henle. Yeah, so those are on them in the medulla. Collecting ducts, loop of Henle. There's a little bit of overlap into the cortex, but in general, that's where the medulla is. Those structures, the way the nephron's set up. And then externally, cortex, you have your renal corpuscles and the convoluted tubules. Any questions about this one?
Are you able to get a little closer to see the division of the two?
Okay. On the slide, it's pretty apparent. On others, it's not as apparent. I saw one slide where it was like, wow, it looked like almost like you could draw a line through. This one, I'll get the injected one too. But so we're pretty close in there. So between that and that, so it looks like change is right about in here. This one I like because it shows the corpuscles really show up really well. Okay, so this is what region of the organ?
Renal cortex.
Renal cortex. Great. And the medulla is definitely a bigger area. Cortex is the perimeter. Okay, so you can see, looks like it's about to right in there. It's cortex, and then it changes over to medulla right in there. That's quite nice. Okay, so here's the renal corpuscle. What might this structure be, or this structure?
Convoluted tubule?
Yeah, convoluted tubule, got it. Good job. And here we go in here. A little bit of a different section than the other one. Looks like maybe it's a transverse section because I don't see the long. I don't see the long tubules. But what would these be then? It's like what?
Convoluted tubules?
No, not convoluted tubules. Collecting ducts or
Nephron loop.
nephron loop, right? Yeah, because I moved away from there. So this is over here. Yeah. And it does look a little different. It looks like it's a transverse section. See, look, they look circular in this one instead of the long ones we saw in the other
longitudinal
section. Okay. Well, sorry. Was there questions about that one? I can put it back up.
Is that on our list, what you just showed us, the nephron loop?
That injected one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it?
do it.
T24. No, I guess it's not.
I drew it.
No, it's not one of the ones listed.
Okay, never mind. I thought I drew it.
You're wondering why you didn't see it?
Yeah, I didn't know it.
No. Thought it was. Maybe it used to be.
You found that really fast.
Yeah, that was pretty fast that time. I must be doing better with that one. Alright. Tell your neighbor, what is that organ? Ureter.
Your return.
Alright. Yeah, I heard it. Ureter?
It's a circle.
Yeah?
It's a star.
Yeah. Stand on it,
Yeah, right.
Alright, so what kind of epithelium?
Transitional.
Transitional, yeah. Does this look like this is a full ureter that's been stretched with urine, or is it a empty one?
It's empty.
Empty.
It's empty, yeah, because you can see the folds collapsed, just like with the bladder, collapsed. Okay, so transitional is here, and then it has the underlying, see I added the lamina propria, good. Yeah, and that's a relar tissue, just like always. I didn't put a relar tissue on your list, but you should know it for lecture purposes. And then what kind of tissue is this muscle layer?
Smooth.
Smooth muscle.
The adventitia.
Go a little closer. Yeah, and then got one more. It's a nice looking slide.
Yeah.
Like this one. Okay, so once again, what kind of tissue is this?
Transitional. Epithelium.
And what kind of tissue is this?
Smooth muscle.
Muscle and
Adventitia.
what's that called? What layer is this called? That's
Adventitia.
the adventitia, yeah. The dense fibrous connective tissue, collagen fibers. And what's this layer called?
Lamina propria.
Propria, good. What's that smooth muscle for? Why is it there?
To go pee.
To do.
Yeah, contraction.
It has the fibers, elastic fibers.
Smooth muscle?
Urine down?
To how?
Which is the urine down? There you go.
Okay, they go pee.
This is the urine down. There it is. From what to what?
The
The
ureter
bladder
to
to
the
the
bladder?
ureter.
No, this is the ureter.
The ureter to the
From the
bladder?
kidney to
To
the
the
bladder.
bladder.
There you go. From the kidney to
Kidney
the
to the
bladder.
bladder.
Can't forget our big picture. Looking at microscopic structures, it's easy to forget the big picture. I just like this slide so much, thought it was a cool look. Transitional. Remember when you learned transitional epithelium?
It all seemed impossible.
Way
Yeah.
back when. Was that your first histology lab?
Yeah.
That was
Epithelium?
hard.
Yeah, histology lab. Yeah, that one's probably really seared in your memory, right?
Yeah.
An indication of how horrible this class is going to be. Ironically, I see a lot of students around and they say, oh, I wish I was still in anatomy. So try to appreciate it just a little bit. Because you might be saying the same thing. They have various reasons for why, but I won't mention them. Let's see here. What do we got? Just when you figure out one class, you gotta go move to another one. Tough.
I know this is
It collects your fluid.
This one, I didn't really get a good view for you. I didn't last time
It's the
either.
ureter.
What organ are we sort of looking out of focus at? So this is the lumen up here. This is the lumen. It looks like it's empty.
the bladder.
And this is what a little deeper layers look like. Yeah. Urinary bladder? Yes.
On the exam, do you want urinary bladder or
Well,
bladder?
I usually let bladder go. I usually let bladder go, but there is a gallbladder.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I typically don't take off for that, but urinary bladder is the most complete answer. Yeah, so what kind of, who we got on our list here? Okay, what kind of epithelium do we have here?
Transitional.
Transitional, yeah, same as the ureter, right? Okay, it's still a mucous membrane, so we still have the underlying lamina propria, which is going to be right under here. And also, what's another layer that meshes together with this one?
Dechuser.
Submucosa is here too, so lamina propria is right under the epithelium. Submucosa is a little deeper, so the urinary bladder actually has the submucosa and the ureter doesn't, which is kind of weird. Okay, but the more important layer is this one. What's the name of this structure or layer? Detrusor muscle, yeah. Let's see, I don't see it on your list, but for purposes of lecture, you'll know what kind of muscle tissue is that? What kind is that? What kind of muscle tissue?
Smooth.
Yep, it's gotta be smooth, right?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Pretty rare that we have skeletal anywhere other than skeletal muscles, a few places here and there. Entrances and exits to the
Why
tracts,
does it
and
look
a couple
so
of random ones like the diaphragm. Yeah, it looks a little weird. It's several layers. Kind of a section is it? I don't know what kind of a section it is. What does it say? Cross section.
Oh, now it makes sense.
Cross
Well, I was cooking right
section.
before I came here, so it looked like that was.
Yeah, it's just a little piecey, but it still looks like smooth muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's real thick. It's got 3 layers that go different directions. So you see fibers going all different directions. Right, and then a ruby is a fold, a macroscopic structure, and so you can actually see these wrinkles or folds that it has. So you imagine if you had this and you were looking at it, that would look like a big fold or a wrinkle or like a little ridge, kind of like in the stomach. Ruby, same term, you saw in the stomach. Alright, so one more time, what kind of tissue is this here?
Transitional.
Transitional what?
Epithelium.
And what kind of tissue is this?
Smooth muscle.
Yeah, what's the name of this layer?
Detrusor
Detrusor muscle. Good. Yeah, mucosa, I didn't mention that for ureter. Mucosa, same thing as saying mucous membrane. So the mucosa, just like the detrusor muscle layer is a main layer, the mucosa is a main layer that's the same thing as the mucous membrane. So the mucosa or mucous membrane includes the epithelial lining plus the lamina propria. Hard to distinguish where, we're not distinguishing between lamina propria and submucosa there. Any questions
Mucosa.
about that one? I think that's our last one.
You said mucosa or submucosa for the transitional and the lamina?
Transitional and the lamina propria are the mucosa.
Mucosa.
Not as bad as some of your histology. Right? No, it's pretty bad.
No, I think last chapters or last sections was like the jejunum and the ileum and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
that was
That
harder.
one was harder.